it's me, Pastor Stephen Patrick again. Thank you so much for joining me on this YouTube channel. It's always an honor and a privilege to be able to bring and share with you. Thank you so much. If you remember, we started a series and I want to continue in the series we started talking about the last 2 weeks. We started discussing the best way to predict the future. Your future, my future, is to create it. Actually, it was Abraham Lincoln who first said that many years ago, and how true that is. We started by saying that if you want to create a better future than the present you have, you must understand the power of routine, which means you have to have certain rituals, certain disciplines, certain practices that you do consistently over time. Like athletes or people who become renowned and successful in their field, there are certain things you have to find what those things are. Then last week we talked about the fact that your future is already inside you, meaning that your potential have to be discovered, developed, and deployed. That means that you're not ungifted or untalented. You have something to offer the world. But today I want to wrap it up and I want to talk about how you can use God's method to create the preferable, prosperous, better, successful future that you want. Let me go back from the Bible, the book of all books. In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. The Bible says in Genesis 1, from verse 1 to 3. In verse 2, the earth became formless, became void, became shapeless. One translation says it became like just empty space. God now, in verse 3, started doing something. The Bible says God now said, let there be light. And if you look at the method God used, because we are created in the image and likeness of God, just like what has happened in the world today, COVID has happened, maybe probably you are losing your job, or about to lose a job, or right now you are still suffering the consequence of COVID-19, and you're wondering, what am I going to do after the lockdown? We are going to use God's method. God did 3 things, and that's what I want you to do as you listen to me today. Number 1, God thought it. The future he wanted, he thought it. 2, he pictured it. 3, he spoke it into existence. And I want to look at these 3 different things that God did very quickly. Number 1, he thought it, and that's what you and I have to do. So for you to create a preferable future, it begins with the fact that you understanding everything is created twice. First created within before it is created without. I want you to understand that thoughts and ideas are powerful. As a matter of fact, thoughts are causes, conditions are effects. That means whatever you are thinking is creating the condition outside you. Proverbs 23 and verse 7, it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so it is. Do you know that whatever enters into your mind has entered into your life? That means this thing you want to see, you want to create, you want to experience, you have to host the idea. You have to welcome the idea. Maybe right now it's not something you've thought about. You have to be intentional. You have to welcome that idea and allow that thought to come into your mind. And the first reality that you need to create is a new you. It's a new you. What do I mean by that? You need to now invent a new you in your imagination. Your imagination is unlimited. That means you can build, you can buy, you can travel in your mind. Develop your imagination to create your realities, the reality that you want to see in this preferable future that you want. So what that means, you have to become a millionaire in your mind before you become a millionaire in cash and in your experience. You have to have gone to that holiday in your mind. That's why God gave you your mind. Your mind has creative ability before you're able to go physically. So what do you have to do? Change your thoughts. Sometimes thoughts can be hard because you see we are product and creatures of habit. Because some of us have been thinking poverty for 10 years. You've been thinking failure for 3 years. You've been thinking defeat for so many years. And sometimes it's not easy. And this is where spiritual warfare comes in. Because you have to understand that thought of poverty has to be brought down. Thought of premature death. Thought of limited living. The thought that tells you that you will never get out of that rut, you will never change, you will never become a better you and have more experiences in life. Those thoughts have to be brought down. So God himself thought the world he wanted before he actually went forward to create it. I want you right now to begin to fill your mind with new realities. If you want to have a better marriage, I want you to begin to accept that concept into your mind before it comes into your experience. If you see yourself owning your own business, let it come into your mind, let it come into your space. It's like if I'm visiting your house and I've never been to your house before, you can either open your door or you can close your door. Some of us, we shut our minds to new ideas. We don't see possibilities. We don't believe things can change. We don't believe that any new breakthrough can come into our life. We don't believe we can do certain things. And if you cannot hold on to those thinking, new ideas will never come into your mind and comes into your life eventually. So what I want you to do right now is for you to begin to stop thinking negatively and they start thinking now in terms and in the area that you want to go. So all negative thoughts that are not consistent with what you want have to go. Start thinking on purpose. Create new reality in your mind, inside your inner world. I want you to start seeing a new you, not the present you in your condition or situation. See yourself flying around the world in your mind, driving that dream car in your mind, living in that dream house, because thoughts are things and thoughts are causes. Let me pause. Life operates on the principles of cause and effect. Circumstances are effects, experiences are effects, conditions are effect, thoughts are causes. And you have to elevate your thinking beyond what you're facing and what you're going through right now to that new you, that new experience, that new reality that you want to see in your life. That's what God did. Then number two, God pictured it first. What you have to do is now begin to visualize that new level of success. See yourself operating in that level. Visualize those possibilities. Visualize yourself in that reality. Visualize yourself doing those things, being those things, and going to those places. What do I mean by that? It means you have to train your mind and begin to invest in your mind to begin now to operate at the new level that you want. That's the reason why sometimes you see they encourage people to buy books. I don't know if you've read books like Think and Grow Rich or The Richest Man in Babylon. That's basically the point that they make, because they realize that your mind is an empire. Your mind has the capacity. You see, your mind can project. Your mind also can reflect. Your mind can contemplate. So you can use your mind intentionally, purposefully, and begin to think. In fact, the Bible says in the book of Philippians chapter 4, it says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things of good report, it says, think on those things. What does that mean? You focus your mind on the outcome that you want. That's what visualization is. You focus it on what you desire, not what you don't want. Forget about what is right now or what has been, but begin to focus on the thing that you desire. Just like when a cameraman is trying to snap a picture, maybe in a party, he starts looking for all the right angles because he knows what he wants to see. You now, in the next 6 months, from now till December or 12 months, I want you to be intentional with your mind. So those thoughts that you're thinking, begin to translate them into experiences that have already happened. So you turn your thoughts into pictures. Some people use vision board. Some people have to use certain form affirmation. Some people actually surround themselves with certain things to keep reminding them. I want you to stay conscious. That new reality that you see, forget about where you are right now, and that is what you should fill your mind with. And then the third thing that God did was that God now, what God thought and pictured, God now spoke it into existence. Now, what you have to understand, you have to begin to affirm and begin to talk as if those things have already happened. That's the way God operates. In fact, in Romans chapter 4 verse 17, he said God called those things that be not as though they were. Abraham and his wife could not have a kid for many, many years. The wife was past the age of childbearing, and he himself, the Bible says his body was dead biologically. That means that naturally he could not have kids. God took him through the same thing. God told him to come out of the house one day. And then what did God do? God told him to look at the sky if he can number. God now put the thought first and foremost. He said, I will bless you. So God was the one who put that thought, and you will be a blessing, and through you all the families of the earth. So God put the thought in Abraham's head. Abraham was not the one who came up with the idea. Then secondly, when Abraham now was in a place where that miracle could not happen, because you have to see your miracle first within before you will experience it without. If you're sick in the body and you don't see yourself well, and the thought and the idea of healing doesn't get into your mind and into your imagination, it will not manifest in your body. What did God do? He brought Abraham and told him to number the stars. When Abraham did, God now went a step further and told him to start calling himself a father of many nations. The same 3 steps. That's what you need to do. Now forget about the in-between. What you need to do, how you're going to get there. It will be revealed to you. You'll be inspired to do it. This is so important. God now started calling forth. God wanted light, he called forth light. God wanted trees, he called forth trees. God wanted animals, he called forth animals. God wanted the sky, he called forth the sky. God wanted the sun. So we live in a world today that is world created. Why? Because that was what God wanted from the original world that God was living in. So let me close by saying, I don't know how your world was before the pandemic. Maybe your world has become formless, has become void. Your bank account, your job, you don't even know where the next meal is going to come from, or you're facing a difficult, or there are dreams in your heart. Don't just allow them to stay as dream. Number one, I want you to start thinking it, the new reality that you want, the future you want to create. Then number 2, start picturing it, what you call visualize it. See yourself already being, doing, and having those things. Then go the third step, which is the most effective one. Now start speaking it into existence. A prosperous life, a victorious life. That new level you see, don't leave it in 5 years. Call it as if you're already living in it. And then through the help and the blessing and the favor of God, God will work circumstances and people to get you to that preferable future you want. I hope this series has blessed you. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'm waiting to hear your testimony. But please, I want you at the end of this video, I want you to look at the bottom. Please, I want you to subscribe. I want you to like it and also to share. And I want you to keep coming back and tell other friends and colleagues about it. I promise that we're bringing you materials that will help to resource and empower you for where you're going. God bless you. Stay on top and take charge. See you soon.